We're here. Marcus Ely here for Status Coup again with Darla Garcia. And there were a few details that we didn't get into in our last interview because you had to talk to some people and verify some things first, make sure stuff was okay to talk about. So let's jump right into it. For those that don't know, she shut down her store, and her colleagues shut down their store, their Wendy's store, which is a franchise Wendy's, and they shut it down in cahoots with the 5 for 15 strike for McDonald's workers. And so you shut the store down, came to the Kamala Harris rally, did the strike and whatnot.
To clarify, it was our rally. Kamala Harris showed up to our rally. Yeah.
Okay. So they showed up, or Kamala Harris shows up to their rally. We talked about that in the last video, but the specifics of your strike, you guys shut down the store that day. Can you talk a little bit about like what happened as far as from your manager, like when you immediately shut it down?
So we knew we were striking. All the employees and we had a signal. When the supporters showed up from the 5 for 15 in the vans outside, we were to take off our headsets and walk out. We tried to do that, and one of the managers physically prevented us. She blocked the way. She stood in front of our exit like this, and we walked around her. One of the employees who was at every single meeting for the 5 for 15 and who was gung-ho, she showed me her 5 for 15 shirt underneath her uniform shirt. She was so excited to strike, stayed behind because she's mentally disabled, and she wasn't there with the rest of us. She needed someone to hold her hand and walk out. And one of the managers at my store physically prevented her from holding my hand and walking out with us. She got between us. She pushed my coworker, my fellow striker, back, and she pushed me out that way. She pushed me out the door and slammed the door in my face and held the door shut. And all of the 5 for 15 supporters and the attorney for the SEIU saw it. So, that's what happened when we tried to go on strike at my store. One of the managers, physically prevented us, or attempted to prevent us from walking out. Physically attempted from walking out, and physically attempted to prevent the rest of us from walking out.
Okay. And then can you talk a little bit about the things that happened after that, as far as the retaliation from the higher-ups? And you had told me that there were some corporate people that you had never seen before that started showing up at your store after the fact.
Yeah, I don't know if he's the owner, but some major player in the corporate office, his name's John, at Wendy's for We Nevada LLC, showed up with the district manager, his boss, some other guy that we've never seen who's a major player who resides in Colorado, or he said he was in Phoenix at the time. They all showed up at the store. They started an investigation. They brought a corporate investigator in because they said there was allegations of sexual harassment in the workplace, which there were never any. But that was the reason that they gave for coming in. They would not admit at the time to coming in because of the strike. So that's what they led all the employees to believe, that it was a sexual harassment investigation, even though they knew otherwise. They've been there all week. They've conducted investigations. They've been asking questions about my general manager, who had nothing to do with anything. He was on vacation at the time of the strike and knew not of it. But they're trying to kind of put it all on him, and because they know that the strikers are protected through the union. So that's what's been going on so far. Today we had an anti-union video meeting with the corporate heads.
Can you talk a little bit about the videos that you were, forced to watch at work? Well, is forced the appropriate word? Did you have the option to not look at those videos?
They used the word mandatory. One of my coworkers who lives...
Mandatory sounds like forced to me!
Mandatory sounds a little bit like forced. I think in a synonymous definition it would be forced. But, It is what it is. They brought one of my coworkers who lives 2.5 hours away by bus in to watch this video with me, and the other employees that were brand new. They just hired a bunch of, all of them are 16, 17, under the age of 18. So they showed us this anti-union video, and it was 100% anti-union, biased, in violation of the NLRA, 100% coercion. That and they made us watch it, and it was negative. It had negative language toward unions, and it had no positive language. It was 100% bias and 100% propaganda, and they said that it was legal and it was fine, but I know that it wasn't, and the lawyers know that it wasn't. So that's what they made us watch.
So, is there any other types of retaliation that you guys have been dealing with since the strike?
Honestly, I'm just going to speak honestly because I was told not to talk about it.
Well, if you were you told by lawyers not to talk about it? Because if you're told by lawyers not to talk about it, then that's it.
I wasn't. They're retaliating against my general manager because he's not protected under the SEIU and the lawyers because he did not physically walk out with us on strike. But he was a supporter because he did sign my petition back in February, and they know that he supports his employees because I'm sure he feels, I know he feels, he's told me he feels that we should be making higher wages, and whatever we have to do to get that we should, because he's not allowed to give us higher wages. Even though he's our general manager, his bosses don't allow him to. The corporation doesn't allow him to. So now they're retaliating directly against him, and I feel that he's going to be fired because of it within the next couple months.
And of course, Nevada's a right-to-work state, so they can make up whatever they want to get rid of the. This is what we deal with under the United Corporations of America. These folks that are fighting for a livable wage. Let's remind you of the conditions they were working under. 103 degrees, no air conditioning for 2 Las Vegas summers. Okay, it is ridiculous the type of stuff they've been dealing with for minimum wage, mind you. And in dealing with that for minimum wage, they turn around and they fight for higher wages, and they get retaliation like this. So when you're in the fight against these corporations, you have to remember that media like this is pretty much the local media hasn't covered you.
No.
There's been no coverage.
Very minimally.
Like they were there because Kamala Harris was at the Fight for 15 march, right?
Yep. That's it. Yeah.
So this is why we need you to smash the like button, to subscribe, to share, because these stories are important. I cover the campaign. I enjoy covering the campaign, going to these nice events. It's cool, but this is why I do this. These stories need to get out. And if we're going to take down the actual problems in this country, then we're going to have to shame the powers that be into it. And this is the way you do it. You make them look stupid because they are stupid. You make them look stupid by showing what they're doing. And their corporate media propagandist companies aren't interested in doing that because those are also corporations. So again, smash that like button, subscribe, share, and of course, Fight for 15, join them locally. Can you tell folks about how, because you were talking to a guy earlier, can you tell folks about how they can get the Fight for 15 to support them if they want to fight, join the fight for a local minimum wage or for a livable wage?
So if you're unhappy with your work conditions, your wages, etc., you need to reach out to the Fight for 15 in whatever way you can. If that means talking to your local union and finding out how you can get in touch with them, because I'm sure they'll know. Unions are very supportive in the Fight for 15, then find out. Otherwise, speak with your a local union representative, anybody that can get you in touch with an organization that will help you, because there are so many out there, and they are dying to help us because they know our struggle. So I implore you to make noise and find someone, anyone that will help you. And those organizations are out there.
That's all the time we have for today, guys. Thank you so much. Marcus Ely, Status Coup, signing off in Las Vegas.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.